What if your US green card journey is derailed not because you are unqualified, but because you choose a pathway that was never designed for your timeline? Every year, thousands of Indian professionals and families begin their US immigration journey with one belief. If they study well, get a good job, and secure employer sponsorship, they will eventually receive a green card. For many Indians, that path once worked. But today, the reality has changed. They get the job, they get the employer, they even get sponsorship. Yet, years later, they are still waiting for permanent residency. So the real question is not just, can I get a green card through EB-1, EB-2 or EB-3? The real question is, which pathway best fits my timeline, career, and my family's future? This is where EB-5 visa enters the conversation. Today, let's compare EB-1, EB-2, EB-3 and EB-5 from the perspective of Indian professionals on H-1B, students on F-1 OPT, and families planning long-term US residency. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Paresh Karia. For over 2 decades, I have worked across banking, financial services, real estate, and investment immigration, advising globally minded families on cross-border investment and immigration planning. Now let's compare these green card categories on 5 practical factors. First, dependency. With EB-1, EB-2 and EB-3, your immigration journey depends on your employer, job role, sponsorship and priority date. If your employer delays the process, withdraws sponsorship, or you lose your job, the immigration plan can be affected. For H-1B professionals, this is especially important because legal status is tied to employment. Generally, an H-1B visa holder has up to 60 days to find another sponsoring employer, change status, or leave the United States. Imagine facing that after spending 10 or more years in America. You may have a home, a career, a spouse, children in school, and financial commitments. It becomes more than an immigration issue. It creates emotional stress, career uncertainty, and family pressure. EB-5 is different. It is not based on employer sponsorship. Instead, it depends on your ability to make a qualifying investment and prove lawful source of funds for that investment. So while EB-1, EB-2 and EB-3 depend on employment, EB-5 depends on investment readiness, source of funds and project compliance. 2. Eligibility. EB-1, especially the extraordinary ability route, is generally designed for highly accomplished individuals. It requires strong evidence of national or international recognition, major awards, senior leadership, original contributions, research achievements, or significant media recognition. Think of the level of recognition associated with leaders like Satya Nadella or Sundar Pichai, or artists like Priyanka Chopra, or recipients of an Oscar, Olympic medal, Pulitzer Prize, Padma Bhushan, or similar honors. This does not mean that EB-1 is only for celebrities or CEOs, and it does not mean that these individuals used EB-1, but it reflects the level of evidence and recognition the category often expects. EB-2 is commonly used by professionals with an advanced degree or exceptional ability. Many Indian professionals studying in the US, moving through OPT, H-1B and employer sponsorship fall in this category. EB-3 generally covers professionals with a bachelor's degree, skilled workers and certain other workers. Eligibility may be broader, but that does not mean that green card arrives quickly. EB-5 takes a different approach. It does not depend on whether you are an engineer, doctor, software professional, or a business leader. It mainly depends on whether you can make a qualifying investment, demonstrate a lawful source of funds, and satisfy documentation requirement. 3. Timeline. This is where the comparison becomes more critical for Indians. EB-2 and EB-3 remain heavily backlogged. In the July 2026 visa bulletin, EB-2 India became officially unavailable for the rest of the fiscal year. Before that, EB-2 India's final action date was around September 1, 2013. That means the system was processing cases for more than a decade old. EB-3 India also remains under significant backlog pressure. In the July 2026 visa bulletin, its final action date stood at January 1, 2014. So many Indians may qualify, receive employer sponsorship and still wait for years. Some estimates suggest new applicants could wait several decades. These are estimates, but the direction is clear. EB-2 and EB-3 are no longer predictable planning routes for many Indian families and may involve decades of waiting. EB-1 is often seen as a relatively faster route, but again for Indians it is still not immediate and may involve a significant waiting period. In the July 2026 visa bulletin, EB-1 India's final action date was October 15, 2022. This means the category was processing cases with priority dates nearly 4 years old. So even EB-1 is not an immediate green card route for Indian applicants. EB-5 is not instant either. It is also subject to visa limits and processing timelines. However, the reserved EB-5 categories continue to remain current. In the same July 2026 visa bulletin, the EB-5 reserved categories continue to show immediate priority date availability for India. So the question is not which category is the easiest. The real question is which category offers the most practical timeline for your situation. 4. Control. With EB-1, EB-2 and EB-3, your immigration future can remain tied to one employer, one job role and the job market. A promotion, restructuring, employer delay or layoff can directly affect your immigration plans. Recent report shows that around 7,300 Indian tech professionals had already returned to India from US in 2026 so far. Whether due to layoffs, visa uncertainty or job market pressure, this highlights the risk of relying only on employer sponsorship. EB-5 can separate green card planning from one employer or one job. This is also where concurrent filing becomes important. For eligible applicants already in the US, if the relevant EB-5 priority date is available, they may file for adjustment of status together with immigration petition. This allows eligible applicant to apply for a work permit and advance parole while the green card process continues. EAD can reduce dependence on a single employer, while advance parole can offer greater travel flexibility. It does not mean an instant green card, but it can significantly increase flexibility during the immigration process. 5. Cost of waiting. Many families immediately say EB-5 is expensive. Yes, EB-5 requires a substantial qualifying investment, but employer-sponsored green card categories also carry costs, not always financial costs, but costs in time, uncertainty, missed opportunities, and emotional stress. For many Indian families, the hidden cost is waiting for decades without permanent immigration certainty. What is the cost of relying on H-1B extensions year after year? What is the cost of delaying career moves because of immigration concerns? What is the cost of your child being unable to plan their marriage, family, and a future with certainty? And what is the cost of knowing that one day off, one policy change, or one employer decision could disrupt years of planning? The real comparison is not simply how much does EB-5 visa cost. It is also what is the cost of waiting. There is no universal winner. EB-1 may be ideal for highly accomplished professionals, but very few may qualify. EB-2 may suit advanced degree professionals with employer sponsorship, but the backlog must be considered. EB-3 may work for skilled workers and professionals, but long waiting time remains a major challenge. EB-5 may offer a more independent and practical route for eligible investors, but it requires a substantial qualifying investment and careful documentation. Before choosing any US immigration pathway, do not ask only which category am I eligible for. Ask which category offers the highest timeline, flexibility, control, and long-term fit for my family's future. Because the wrong green card decision does not just cost money, it can cost years. This becomes even more important as the September 30, 2026 deadline for grandfathering approaches. Grandfathering protection, priority date availability, investment structure, source of funds planning, and project due diligence should all be considered before making a decision. Because in immigration planning, waiting does not just delay your decision. Sometimes waiting changes your options or closes doors. If you are exploring EB-5 before the 30th September 2026 deadline, click on the link below and speak to us now. Understand your eligibility, source of funds readiness, investment structure, and project options before waiting changes your choices. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.